What up, guys? What up? Out here in this beautiful world, man. I'm so happy to be on this channel. We have a special guest on the show. Round of applause. We have Kieth, founder of Good News radio station. He works for two big major radio stations as well. He graduated from Northridge, has his master's in communication. Boy, man, is this I'm super excited. Keep telling them a little bit more about yourself as well, so you could fill them in.
Yeah, man. What's up, everybody, man? Can you hear me, Em? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly.
All right, cool. Well, shit, man. I'm excited, man, to definitely be on this interview. And reached out, man. He wanted me to talk to me about some certain things on the channel. I think it's a perfect opportunity. But ultimately, you don't know much about me. My name is Kieth Good News. That's what I go by. You can check me out. You can check out the Good News radio station. You can download it in your app store if you have a Google, Android. If you have iPhone, App Store, you go ahead and type in the Good News radio show. You'll see the app pop up. You can listen to me live or any of the podcasts that's been up. Been in radio now for about 2 years, a little over 2 years total. I mean, it's been a huge 2 years, 2 years of consistent work, I will say. And it's what it's to now. And I will say it's not as big as I thought it would be, but it's bigger than a lot of people expected.
Yeah.
You know, and I guess it's because my vision for it is forever changing. You know, it's forever evolving. I don't really make goals because I change them too often. You know, so it's a feeling I want to accomplish more so than a goal. And I think, you know, that's what I'm after. I'm after a feeling versus an image.
Ooh, I like
Does
that.
That makes sense.
Oh, that's powerful. That's powerful.
Yeah.
So it's not the goal that you set. It's the feeling that you get when you hit the goal. It's the emotional happiness or dose of whatever you're looking for at that time that you get, joy or whatever. That's beautiful.
100%.
That's beautiful. All right, so for this for all the viewers that are going to be watching, thank you guys for tuning in. We're going to be talking a lot about communication, since he did get his bachelor's in communication, and we all have been communicating our whole lives. His master's actually, and he's also a radio host. So this guy is the guy to listen to when it comes to being able to use your voice to impact lives, and in fact impact the generation and impact friends, and be able to communicate the message that you want to get across. So let's dive right into it.
Yeah.
Where do you feel like the origins of communication come from?
Well, let me say this. Let me tell you what I've learned, because it's hard to attach a feeling to a logical explanation. And the reason why I don't like doing that is because there are not enough words for the amount of emotions that we express daily. Words actually do a disservice to emotions. I said on my show, and if you listen to my show, it's a millennial show. Everything I talk about is from a millennial standpoint. I'm 28. And words, we think words communicate more than anything else. And that's a problem. That's a problem. Words are the least effective way to communicate. Let me say that. It's the least effective, but it's the most common. The reason why I say it's least effective, because you can lie with your words. There's a lot of other things that can't lie. Like, I'll give you an example. Attraction. When you're attracted to somebody or something, whether it be a shirt that you see in the store or it be a pretty girl walking down the street, your pupils dilate. Your body is communicating with another energy source that you are attracted to.
Beautiful.
So that's why when you go window shopping and you see a shirt you like, you stare at it a little bit longer than you would if it's a shirt you did like. Your pupils are dilating, and you're examining what you're looking at because you're attracted to it. Same thing with people. If you want to know if somebody's attracted to you, look at their pupils. Their pupils can't lie like the words can. So you see why I'm saying that it's not as effective as it could be, but it's most common. So let me start there. I do have 2 degrees in communication, and let me tell you why I went into communication. It wasn't for radio. And you know, I grew up with a stuttering problem, really, really bad stuttering problem, and that later actually come to find out that I was dealing with a mild case of Tourette's, and which is a nerve disorder. Now, what we see on TV, unfortunately, he has this this, exaggerated idea of what Tourette's is. People are cussing people out. That is an extreme case. But that's an extreme case. A very moderate case that I have is just the nerve effect, where a lot of times it makes me blink really hard. It makes me crack my neck often. Sometimes it makes me do things like that with my eyes, with my nose. When I was younger, I used to jump. I didn't know how to control it. Now as an adult, I've learned how to manipulate it so it doesn't throw people off. But anyways, I said I want to correct my speech pattern. So I decided in 10th grade that I was going to study communication to learn how to talk. When I got into my undergrad, I realized that there were ways to talk. There were ways to communicate. There were ways to cooperate. And I use that word specifically because we communicate. The foundation, to answer your question, the foundation and the basis of communication is not to exchange information. It's not to exchange information. It's to cooperate.
Yeah.
It is to cooperate because when you communicate with a dog, they don't know what you're saying, but however you are cooperating. You see, so words does not mean cooperation. How many times have you said something to somebody and they didn't cooperate with it? They didn't understand what you said.
Yeah.
So there was no communication that happened, right? There was a lack of communication, right? Even though you guys both spoke, there was a lack of communication because there was no cooperation. That makes sense?
That makes sense. Yeah.
So I would say, to answer that, the foundation of communication is for cooperation. You want people to cooperate with you, and you want to cooperate with them on a certain level. That is the only way to communicate. Without cooperation, there is no communication.
Yeah.
If I say something and you didn't hear me, did I communicate it to you?
Yeah.
You know,
and it's crazy because the one thing that I've been learning, which goes into communication, because they also talk about it's 7% words, 33% vocal tonality, and some of it's body language, like you said, when your eyes dilate, when your body language is facing towards a certain person. But on an even deeper level, when it comes to communication, that we communicate not only to the people that are in the vicinity of us, we also communicate to people that are not even in the room with us. In a sense, I could be communicating with my mom or my or a friend in a different country because we're both our minds have our minds are so powerful. I feel like we have limited ourselves to our physical experience, and we forgot that communication is always being done through energy throughout the whole universe because we're all connected. It's all touching. So I just think that that's just a powerful thing, that when we get into a sense of understanding, okay, our mind and our heart space, our emotions are communicating and vibrating outside of our physical body. My physical body might dilate, but my energy is going to touch you. So let's say, I think Ross, our boy, and you talked about it when two people come together, their energy level is always rubbing off. And that's
absolutely
communicating. That's just our energy with us just walking past each other. Boom.
Well, that's called harmony, you know, and that's what I always look for in everything. And I can see now by what you just said, by your response, that you want to take it to a deeper level, to tier 2. Yeah. We could do that. I like to start everybody at foundational level, and I think that's what I've learned over time, and especially doing radio. You can only give people what they're ready for a lot of times, and you never know what they're ready for.
Yeah.
But it's good to start off at subtraction. I mean, it's good to start off at addition before you go into multiplication. But I like what you said. So let's take it a step deeper. When you think something is released, you know, neurologists have studied the mind for ages, forever. And there's two things that they discovered, and there's things that they haven't discovered. One thing that they have discovered is when you think a thought, something is released. There is something that happened.
Yeah.
There is an electromagnetic field, or let me say, there's a field that created between you and what you're thinking about. It's called polarity. For everything you need, for every electric arc, you need two poles, right? If you look at a car battery, it has a negative and a positive, right? You look at a regular battery, it has a negative and positive. It has two poles. And that's
Mm-hmm.
the only way that it creates an electric shock. Well, think about your brain works the same way, but much more powerful. So there is something else that you're creating an electric shock to create energy when you think. It's not just going nowhere. It's connecting to something.
Yeah.
And people can feel that. You know, it's kind of like if you think about something, if you think that I can turn on the TV with your hand over the remote. Now, why is that? It is because it is because there are particles, and there are base particles, atoms, neutrons, electrons, things we can't even pronounce, right? We don't even know what they are, that are smaller than what your hand is made of, which allows it to travel through.
Yeah.
So, you know, we communicate on a whole different level, especially when it comes down to an energetic force. But let's talk about it more practically, so people can understand it.
Give them more practical,
right?
what it means.
Right. So, tone. You talked about tonality. There is nothing that communicates more than vibration. A tone is a vibration. That's what that is. A tone is a vibration. The vibration incites conviction. Conviction then turns into persuasion. Persuasion is an element of rhetoric. I don't know if you ever heard that term before, rhetoric. Rhetoric is the science of communication.
Okay. Wow.
Okay. Rhetoric is the science of communication. And the science of communication is not about truth, and it's not about what is true, and it's not about what is not true. It is only about what pleases the body and the mind. Now this may be a little bit deeper, but this is where it took me in grad school. It is not about what is true. It is about what pleases the body and the mind. This is what I'm going to give you an example of. At one point, we could not explain how the sun moved from one side of the world to the other side of the world. We could not grasp that concept. We did not have the technology to understand that. So we created a narrative around it to please the body and the mind. And we said there was a god named Apollo who puts the sun on the back of his chariot, and it's his job to take it from one side of earth to the other. Guess what that did for the people? It closed the book on it. It pleases the body and the mind. Because one thing that a human can always ask is the question, why? 2 + 2 is 4. Why? That is an unanswered question. So, and we cannot handle infinite thoughts, because everything in our physical world is finite to us. So when the thought of infinite comes, we can't grasp that concept in our 3-pound brain. So therefore, the fathers of rhetoric, and remember, the science of communication, people like Hitler use the science of communication. People like Martin Luther King use the science of communication. They never actually did anything. They use the science of communication to move the world, to get people to cooperate with them.
Yeah. And I feel like that's an amazing sense. And just to give the viewers like a sense of, because you've been studying this, you have been in communication, you have been in the radio. What do you think are the most strategic ways, practical ways that really help these people speak into people's lives to where they felt it? They felt the emotion from when they were speaking. What do you feel like were the exact strategies they use?
2 things: belief level, because that will amount to your conviction, whatever it is you're talking about. Format of words, little words like about to ruin the conviction in what you're saying. See, I say all the time, there was something that changed when I went from wanting to be a radio host to being a radio host. Guess what changed?
What?
The words.
Beautiful. Yeah.
That's it. And when I start saying that, I start becoming that. See, words, however, it's like the front of the train for us. We never go against who we say we are. If you say you're shy, you're going to act out who you say you are.
Yeah.
No matter what. Who you say you are, you're going to act out, because we believe in words so wholeheartedly. So therefore, you cooperate with yourself.
Yeah.
Now, when you don't cooperate with yourself, you have confusion. And then you get to this point where I don't know who I am. Well, that's because you're going against, you're not cooperating with, you're not communicating with yourself. You haven't sat in silence enough, and you haven't communicated with yourself. You haven't done what Plato, Aristotle, Gorgias, Quintilian, Galileo done, which was be with self in silence. See, they didn't have TV and cell phones. All they had was other people. And then when other people were not around, they'd have nothing. They had themselves and their thoughts. Your thoughts will go as far as you allow them to go. Most people most people cut their thoughts off when they go too far because they get uncomfortable. So they cut on music.
Yeah,
or
that's true.
or you know, they cut on music. Or have you ever heard of somebody say, "Oh, that's too much. I'm thinking that's too much thinking. I'm thinking too much." You're wrong. Like, no, allow your thoughts to go as far as they will go. Right? You know, because it's something beyond this physical world. And you have to communicate with your other self. Here's the hard part for people to understand. If you think that you are your mind, you are sadly mistaken. If you think that you are your mind, you are sadly mistaken.
100%.
You are not your mind. If you were your mind, you wouldn't be able to talk to yourself inside of yourself. And if you're talking to yourself, that means there's something that's talking, this is talking to that. So if this is talking to that, you understand that there's two entities that's happening here. And what's happening, there's no harmony within the two entities. There's no cooperation within this and that, within me and yourself, within I and yourself, within the two entities that exist. Now, we're going deep, but this is where communication lies. This is where communication lies. Once you start understanding how you communicate with yourself, you can understand how to communicate with other people.
And I really like what you said. The first thing when it comes to being effective for these leaders were their belief systems. And the next thing was their words. And what I've been learning for myself and what you talked about earlier, you talked about setting goals. You're not like, because a lot of people set goals and they never hit them because they just have these goals. But it gets to a point where when you're impeccable with your word, like you said, I am a radio host, and you're impeccable. That means like, you don't just say, because a lot of people say stuff and then they don't do it. So therefore their words lose power because they're not, it's like, oh, I'm this and all this stuff. And there's no type of real force behind it. And that's why it's very vital for not only for you to believe, but to be impeccable with what you're saying. If you say you're going to do something, you do it, therefore there's a follow through, therefore the belief, and it's all just, it's like a big turning wheel. You believe.
You know what, and you know what's happening? Other people are waiting on validation from other people. You're waiting. I can't wait on somebody else to say, I'm a radio host now I can start saying it. It doesn't work that way. You have to be first in everything you do. See, what happens is, first comes immediate success with anything you're doing. Secondly comes immediate failure. Once you understand that formula, and that formula, it doesn't bother you anymore. It's like E equals MC squared. It's just the way it works. From immediate success comes immediate failure. After immediate failure comes immediate success. Just as day comes after night. With repetition, it's going to be that way forever. So what you do is you just understand that, hey, everything that's good has an opposite. I don't believe in good or bad. Let me just put it this way. When I learned how the communicative science is, the science is sick. It's so sick that people may think it's evil. People may think it's evil because it challenges religion, and this is true communication. Because religion is communication. It challenges religion. It challenges a lot of people's beliefs. It challenges a lot of people's family. It challenges so much of society that a lot of people are afraid to just take that part of them on. Because what are people going to say about me? You know, we're so worried about what other people are going to say. But you know what I realized? Most people are not thinking about you.
Thinking about themselves.
Most of the time. Yeah, they're not thinking about you most of the time. They're probably ever. So, you know, I say that to say, this is another important key that I want to say this. There's a Latin term called kairos. Okay? Now, if we look at the Latin language, I studied Latin in high school somehow, some weird way, right? But, right, like the dying language. But it's the root of most languages. There's a term called kairos, called the most opportune time. You asked what had the most effect. Timing is so key.
I love that.
When you say certain things.
Mm-hmm.
See, the thing is, it's very hard to sell a jacket in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
If you get what I'm saying.
No, 100%. Yeah.
It's very difficult to sell, a bomber jacket in the summer. Yeah. But guess what? You can sell in the summer. How do you do so? You put it on sale. See, it's a communicative thing. I make this understand. Like McDonald's does something every year. You know, when Lent comes around every year and people stop eating meat, that's like the number one thing people do for Lent. Guess what McDonald's does? They make their fish fillets $1.99.
Yeah.
See, because what they're doing, they're cooperating with human nature. That is communication. That is success. That is true communication. They're not saying anything. They're cooperating and they're being in harmony with the rest of the world. That is communication.
Okay. Beautiful. That's awesome. I love that.
It gets deep, man.
Yeah, it gets deep. It keeps going, man. Infinite. I was going to say the next thing is, so what got you passionate about doing radio, and how has radio impacted your life as far as when you speak to people, and how has also you taking communication and learning more about it? How have you been able to apply that, and how's that made you feel as a person?
Well, let me start at the beginning, because you asked like 5 questions, so I'm probably not gonna remember halfway through half of the questions. But just
what got you started in radio? Let's stick with that.
Right. But I would say that at the beginning of me deciding, I was at a very this is why I actually, for the first time, I shared this story with somebody for the first time recently, because they were going through something and I felt it was time for me to explain it. Before I started doing, I was in a very, very dark place. But I wasn't in a bad, see, people think a dark place means bad. No. It was solitary confinement type dark place. I had just been in my Vima business. My Vima business had ended. And I had faced failure, major failure for the first time in my life. I had not won. It had fell apart for the first time ever. I've never faced failure. I've never believed in something so much that didn't work out. So to be honest with you, I was kind of afraid to believe again in something, because the failure hurt so bad. And you know what hurt most about the failure? It wasn't the money that I didn't have anymore. I felt like I was so afraid to change socially. I had put everything on the line. I had bet everything. I said, this was it. I told everybody that this is what I'm going to do. And I bet against the house, and I failed in front of everybody. And I said, damn, like, it's so embarrassing. I went into a shell. That shell was the best thing that ever happened to me, because during that time, since I wasn't on Instagram because I didn't have nothing to post, I was embarrassed to post anything. I was embarrassed to tell people that I quit. I failed. I lost. In front of, I was on top of the world and I fell off. And you know what I was doing. You know how I was here where I am now in another entity. Maybe 3 years ago. So I would say I went on a hiatus from myself. And that time I started reading the Bhagavad Gita, which is the Indian spiritual. I read the Tao Te Ching, which is the Asian spiritual. I started to dive deeper into myself.
And we're going to put all the links down low.
I became a vegetarian. I started changing myself because nothing else was changing for me. So I started to change. That was the first thing that happened. I said, I'm not going to wait on my circumstances to change. I have to change my circumstances. But you can't change your circumstances without changing yourself. Personal development will probably change everything. That helped everything. But it was the spiritual aspect of personal development that I specifically dove into during this time. I'm used to reading books on success and reading books on how to make money, but I never had read a book on me, my spiritual self. That changed everything. And then I decided, you know what? I'm going to be a life coach. It wasn't even radio. I decided when I came out of that, I said, this is what I'm going to do. But I wasn't passionate about it. It didn't do it. I thought it was going to work and it did. I was like, damn, again, Don't have it again. What am I going to do now?
Mm-hmm.
And the crazy thing about it comes full circle because when I was in college a long time ago, I used to say I want to be a sports, journalist, broadcaster. That was kind of my thing. So I guess I was on the right road. After that whole thing, when I decided, actually, let me say this. I'm thinking about all the questions you asked. I made the decision. This is the truest thing I've ever heard. And this is the truest thing I will ever tell anyone. I heard it from Will Smith. Something happens once you decide what it's going to be. Mm-hmm. Even if you decide wrong, the important part is you made a decision because you're in the right area. It's like a check engine light. When you have a check engine light in your vehicle and they hook up that machine, it doesn't tell you the exact problem. It tells you the area of the problem, which is great on a car. There's a lot of places to go. Mm-hmm. We have a large menu to eat off of in this world. How the hell are you ever going to choose what to eat when the menu's so big?
Yeah.
And hell, most of us just looking at the first page. We don't even want to get to the second page. There's so many things on the first page.
Yeah. So
what happens is I made a decision. I said that I'm going to go and try radio. Mm-hmm. I said, because something I want to do, it allows me to use my voice, it allows me to teach, and allows me to to cooperate with people who I would like to cooperate with. I like to be around people who are actively moving forward. So I said, what can I do to create something for those people? Mm-hmm. Yeah. The people I want to be around, how can I give something to them? Here's a big key factor. Mm-hmm. How can I provide something for them? How can I give something to them? Yeah. And that's how I started 2 years ago. And my first show, I didn't have microphones. I didn't have anything. I had my cell phone and a broken computer. Yeah. A broken Mac. And what I would do was I found a website that allowed me to go on air for 30 minutes for free once a day. And what I used that 30 minutes and I used to call in from my phone like I was a guest on my own show because I didn't have microphones or anything. Yeah. And I would call in and do a radio show on the phone. Yeah. And that was 2 years ago. So, and from then on, it's just been consistency. That's all I can say. Moving forward.
Journey to ourselves.
Don't stop and do not miss. You know how important it is for you not to miss work? Like if you don't go to work, you get fired. It's crazy how we can be on a schedule for someone else, but for ourselves, we can't. We can't be consistent for our own. So we can be consistent for somebody else's job. But I don't believe in dreams anymore. But feelings that we're trying to accomplish, we're waiting on those. I start realizing that time is not real, and you can cut your time down as much as you want to. Hell, I'm gonna ask you a question. It may take you 100 tries. It may take you 100 videos to get to the video that gets you, it's your big break.
Yeah, it's like boom, it happens. Yeah.
Right. Now, if you do a video a day, how many days is it going to take?
It's going to be down a lot. Yeah, 100 days. Yeah.
If you do 2 a day, how many days is it going to take?
It's going to take half of that.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I figured out how can I cut down my time. That's why if you follow my show, I do a broadcast twice a week because everybody else does once a week. What can I do more than the next person?
You'll be willing to do more.
See, I'm willing to do twice a week because other people are not willing to do. I've cut my learning curve in half.
Yeah.
In half the time. So what it would take people 5 years to get to is taking me 2.
Yeah.
Because I've cut my learning curve in half.
Okay.
It's important. It's important.
All right, so we got one more question. And then I want to ask you to tell them where they could follow you at for some more amazing content, and they can follow your radio channel because it's awesome, guys. When I say it's awesome, he's hilarious, he's funny, and it's great content, and it's about real life millennial stuff. But the question is, I like to end a video on a practical sense or on an action step. So what is one action step that you believe that could help someone's life right now in your intuition? What is your intuition telling you that the viewers need to hear that they need to take action on?
I don't know what you need to take action on, but because everybody has different, so I can't say, I will say act on intuition, but this is what I will say.
Mm.
Start where you are.
Start where
This
you
is the
are.
key thing. We wait to get everything to start instead of starting to get everything. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Just start. Just start. If you know, like I said, I didn't have a microphone, but I knew that if I started now, by the time I got the microphone, I would be better.
So
start where you are.
That would be the one tip that you could give is for you guys is wherever you're at right now, whatever you're going through, start where you are.
Start where you are. That's the only place. You don't need more. You don't need to wait. Stop waiting on something to come. I'm going to start when the first day. I'm going to start when I get paid. I'm going to start. Just start. I'm not saying. Look, the fact of the matter is, you can do something now. I'm not saying like I'm gonna say if you want to do radio, go on YouTube and learn the program. And then by the time you have the money to buy the program, you know the program. You see, now you're cutting your learning curve in half.
Yeah.
Start where you are. Just start. Just start doing the work that's necessary. Everything doesn't take money. Everything doesn't take a bunch of time. And that's what that's what I realized. My initial investment until my second radio show, which is The Good News, which was, 8 months after, or almost 10 months after my first show, it was $600, but it was 10 months of practice that I had when I invested my initial $600.
And I really waited.
I'm serious.
I really like that.
Yeah.
Start where you are, and another thing you always mention is be willing to invest. We had that conversation, how you invest in radio equipment. Not only are you investing into money, but you have to invest time, because if you're not investing into your dream or into your feeling or emotion that you really want to have, then you can never expect other people to invest in what you're creating in this world.
May I share with because I like to share this. I would like to share before we get off one of my struggles though, because I don't want anybody to think I have this all down pat. I don't. I'm still figuring it out myself. I'll just share my experience thus far, but I have to be honest, because I struggle with certain things. I'm just now, after 2 years, I've just now made my radio show what's the term I'm looking for it? I don't want to say a money making entity, but I monetized it finally. And after 2 years, I finally monetized it. So now I'm making money off of my show. I still struggle with that. Let me tell you why. Because it's something new for me. Although it's starting to bring in money, it's very uncomfortable trying to figure out how to take something that you were not charging for and then charge for it. So for the people out there, this is why I'm struggling at. I don't want to say I'm struggling. I'm gonna say I'm challenged. You know what I did the other day, because I knew I was afraid to do it. I woke up, I put on my jacket, I put on my shirt, I printed out some papers, and I went into businesses, and I walked into businesses, and I asked them, were they interested in sponsoring my radio show? I mean, just walked into them. I was scared as a black cat, but I did it because I was scared. I did it because I was scared. So, I have fears too, but my fears I don't operate off my fears. It fuels me. When I know I'm afraid of something, I'm going to do it because I know I'm afraid of it. So I have fears too. There's sometimes I go back and forth, like, am I going to make it? Am I going to fail? But every time I get that, I just realize it's part of the process. So, I'm still working. I'm still working on myself. So it's a never-ending process. So I just want to share that so people know that I'm not, freaking human.
Yeah, I feel you. So thank you guys for all tuning in to this channel. Kieth, this is actually my cousin too, by the way. We're actually family. He's the one that upgraded my conscious level to another level and upgraded me as a person. So Kieth, tell them where they can follow you, where they can find your stuff, and all of that.
If you want to follow the radio pages at The Good News Radio Show, that's on Facebook, Instagram. If you'd like to follow me personally, it's at Kieth Good News on Instagram and also on Facebook at Kieth Good News. And you can find me everywhere. Just it's a millennial show. If you're a millennial, and most likely you are if you listen to this, you should check it out. That's what we talk about. Every single Monday, I interview a new millennial. Most of them are entrepreneurs, creatives, or artists in some kind of way, form, or fashion. A lot of them have very unique entrepreneur
Mm-hmm.
ventures, and that's what I look for, the most unique people I can find. I bring them on my show, and we have a good time. So download the app on your app store at the Good News Radio Show. Download the app, and yeah, man, that's pretty much it, man. I'm looking for having you on here, man. I love what you're doing, man, and I've seen you change so much, man, and to see you're trying to lead your generation, our generation, let me say, because we're part of the same generation, but you're trying to lead our generation in such a positive way. I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it's a beautiful thing, and I think what you're doing is culminating with the new generational wave. I believe that the millennials we're going to be the ones that we're going to be the foundation of unity. I've said that for a long time. We're going to be the foundation of unity. So I appreciate you, man. I appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate your spirit, man.
Yeah. Again, thank you guys, all of you guys are my family. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. We have to work together, so I just hope that if you guys enjoyed this content, make sure to share it, tag a friend, leave a comment for the next video that you guys would like to see, more interviews, or more social experiments, whatever you guys want. We're all one big family. Hashtag one small change. What we do today will always impact tomorrow, so make sure to go out and do something. Do something, whether that's following your dreams or encouraging a friend, or even something as picking up a piece of trash, because it's all a butterfly effect, and we all have a duty to play in this world. Play your part. We're out. Love you. Thank you, Kieth, for being on the show.
Yes, sir.
Peace.